The idea of this panel came because we have some projects that I won't disclose right now, but for those projects to come to fruition, it was important. I think that as an organization, LatinX and AI has been trying to bring the LatinX community together and to give access to LatinX individuals to have access to conferences like NeurIPS, ISML, iClear, all these big conferences, right? But sometimes it was difficult to actually reach out people in those countries. Like, for example, in Mexico, we have a good network. I would say we know Mexico very well. In our case, because I'm from Mexico. But even when I came back from I spent something like 12 years in France. When I came back to Mexico, was kind of difficult to interact and do some networking and so on. So as LatinX and AI, when we try to help people, we have a lot of people from the organization committee, like Victor. He was in Saudi Arabia, and now he's in Cambridge. We have the Matthias, who is originally from Chile, but he is in Germany, and so on. We have a lot of people that is helping, but they are not in Latin America sometimes. So when we want to have a bigger reach, it's difficult to actually connect with the people in those countries and to be able to help the students, because we have very good sponsors. We have Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, and so on. So sometimes we can, now with the pandemic, we cannot give money for traveling, for example, but usually we can afford to give some grants for registration, travel grants, and so on. But we want to have a bigger reach. And one of the projects we are working, we want to understand better what are the limitations in terms of research, in terms of access to computing resources for students in Latin America, and so on. So as I send you, we have a few questions that we want to address in order to understand better. So the panel will proceed as follows. We will have this short introduction, like 5 minutes already done. So we'll only introduce you very briefly. Then we'll have a 2 minutes presentation of yourself, like you can introduce yourself and maybe your background a little bit, okay? And then we have a discussion and debate for thematic axis, like four big questions, let's say. And for that, you can talk a little bit, like 2 minutes per question, hopefully. And if we have time, we can have some interaction with the audience. So basically, this table, the Roundtable, I call it current status of the artificial intelligence or computer vision ecosystem in Latin America. And the moderator, Gilberto Ochoa Ruiz. The panelists, I will introduce very briefly, Raul Monroy Borja, who is professor at Tecnológico de Monterrey. He is leader of the machine learning group, and he is also the director of the PhD and master programs here at Tecnológico de Monterrey. We have Enzo Ferrante from CONICET and Universidad Nacional Litoral Argentina. Nina Irata from Universidad of Sao Paulo, from the Institute of Mathematics and Statistics in Brazil. Pablo Muse, I don't know if Pablo is already here, but he is from Universidad de la República Uruguay.
Yeah.
Marley Velasque from Pontificia Universidad Católica de Río de Janeiro, from Brazil as well. María José Escobar, Universidad Técnica Federico Santa María, Chile. And Laura Alejandra Daza Barraga from the Sinfonía Research Center in Universidad de los Andes, Colombia. César Beltrán Castañón from Universidad Católica de Perú, who is head of the Artificial Intelligence Research Group in Peru. So we want something that we were looking, we strive for, was actually have a very balanced panel in terms of, I mean, I wanted this to be more academic, that maybe we can, in the future, we can have some roundtable in which we can invite people from the startups and so on. But I wanted for this to be more academic, but we were starting to have half women, half men. So I think we were very successful in that regard. And in general, if you see the program, all the speakers, we have half women, half men, the panelists, and so on, even the tutorial as well. So I'm very happy for that. So I think we can take advantage of the time. So you can introduce yourselves. We can start with Raul. See if you can introduce yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I must say it's very general stuff for me, right? So I'm interested in machine learning models. I usually apply these models in problems of cybersecurity, including intrusion detection, and so on and so forth. I have been in Tecnológico since 1985. I have served my community in several ways. For example, I have been president for the Mexican Society in Artificial Intelligence. I once coordinated the focus group in ICT run by CONACYT at a national level. I have been a founding member of the Mexican Academy in Computing. And in general, I also have the pleasure of leading a research group in machine learning here at Tecnológico de Monterrey. The group is distributed in nature. You can get to see Gilberto is now in Guadalajara. I myself, I'm in the state of Mexico, which is about 600 kilometers apart. And we are 10 people working in different stuff related in machine learning, with machine learning, and in particular video surveillance and other applications of computer vision. And I myself, I am more interested in one-class classification and decision tree classification and so on and so forth. So I think that would be it. Thank you, Gilberto, for the invitation.
Thank you, Raul. Enzo, can you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everybody, and thank you for the invitation. My name is Enzo Ferrante. I'm a researcher at CONICET, which is the Argentinian National Research Council, and also a lecturer at Universidad Nacional del Litoral in Santa Fe City in Argentina. I work on machine learning and specifically deep learning for biomedical image analysis, and I lead a research line on that topic at the Research Institute for Signal Systems and Computational Intelligence, which is one of the biggest groups in Argentina regarding artificial intelligence in general. So yeah, I did my PhD in France, postdoc in the UK, and then I decided to return to Latin America to establish my own research group, and I'm here since 2017, 4 years already, working in Santa Fe City.
Thank you, Enzo. Let's move with Nina.
Hi, thank you for the invitation. Nice to meet you all. I'm Nina Hirata. I'm from the University of São Paulo, here in Brazil, São Paulo City, main campus. I have formation at the University of São Paulo. I did my undergrad and PhD at the University of São Paulo. And I did some sandwich, spent some time at Texas A&M University during my PhD. And I have been working with images and machine learning since my graduate studies, so since my master PhD. And nowadays I'm working a lot with deep learning applied to images computer vision, and particularly I have some collaboration with people at astronomy, also oceanography, it's plankton image analysis, and also some collaboration with medical images, and particularly lately about analyzing data related to COVID. Besides that, I do a lot of research on more fundamental or more basic aspects of machine learning applied to images and vision. And in our department, we have other professors, researchers, I think 8 professors that somehow work with images or machine learning applied to images. So we have a strong group here working on different aspects of the field. I guess for now is this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nina. Let's move with Pablo. Thank you. Hello, Pablo. Thank you for being here.
Hello, Gilberto. Hello, everybody. Thanks a lot for the invitation to participate in this panel. I'm Pablo Musé. I'm from Uruguay, Montevideo, where I did my BS in electrical engineering. And then I studied applied math in Paris, and I did my PhD in applied math to image processing, also in Paris, in École Normale Supérieure Paris-Saclay. And then I did a postdoc in Caltech, mainly on applications to remote sensing. My research topics research lines are mostly image processing, traditionally using variational methods, and then more recently merging these approaches with machine learning. I also work in computer vision, but my main focus of interest is on image restoration. And from the applications point of view, I work mainly on remote sensing, satellite imaging. I'm also interested in the theory of machine learning. Our lab in Montevideo at Universidad de la República, I'm in the Department of Electrical Engineering. We have there within we have a group of signal processing, which has two main research lines according to the application. One is everything which has to do with audio, and then everything which has to do with images, and then on different applications on these two research lines. The group is about 25 persons. We are about 10 permanents, and then some professors which have a less, which are not full-time professors, and that's it.
Thank you, Pablo. So, Marley.
Hi, everybody. Thank you again, Gilberto, for the invitation to participate in this panel. My name is Marley Velasque. I am from the Catholic University of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And I did my undergraduate in electronics in the electrical engineering in the Catholic University and MSc as well, and PhD in computer science in the University College of London. I actually chair a research lab that deals with applied computational intelligence and robotics. And we have applications in different areas, not only in vision, but we also have a group that deals with remote sensing, some applications in agricultural robotics, and having computer vision related to this application. And my main research area is hybrid system and developing of models for auto ML, auto machine learning, like developing neural architecture search models. And basically, that's it.
Yeah, thank you, Marley. So let's move with Maria Jose. Hello, Maria Jose.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm an electronic engineer, and I have also master engineer in electronics from the Universidad Técnica Federico Santa María, that's in Valparaíso, Chile. Then I moved to France for a PhD in signal and image processing at INRIA Sofia Antipolis. Now I'm an associate professor of the Department of Electronics in Universidad Técnica Federico Santa María in Valparaíso. You're everyone invited to know our university. My research line are related to NeuroAI. That means I shift a little bit to the neuroscience field, and I'm trying to connect what we learn from neuroscience or cognitive psychology with artificial intelligence. Since the end of 2019, I've been in a break from academia because I decided to move into the Chilean Ministry of Science. I am the regional ministerial secretary for Valparaíso and Coquimbo regions. This is a very challenging in fact, this position is very challenging. This is a new ministry. We only have 2 years old since its creation. And of course, this ministry aims to create and reinforce the science and technological system, closing the gaps between the industry and society.
So yeah, you are particularly well suited for this panel, I think.
Yeah, mixed.
Thank you a lot for accepting.
On the public side, yeah.
Because when we were looking for names for people from Latin America, we contacted some people like people from Kipu and from the MIT AI Summit, and some people told us that maybe you might be quite busy. But thank you a lot for accepting the invitation. Thank you. So, Laura Alejandra, can you introduce yourself? Thank you for accepting the invitation.
Hi everyone, again, thank you for the invitation. My name is Laura Azam. I am a biomedical engineer from Universidad de los Andes in Colombia, and I am currently a researcher at Sinfonía, that is the first center for formation and research in AI in Latin America. I work with Marley Velasque, and my main focus is on biomedical computing, on computer vision applied to medical images. We have worked on different fields here, including bone age assessment, lung cancer prediction, general segmentation, and robustness in the medical area. And well, as I said, we're part of the first Center of Artificial Intelligence in Colombia.
Thank you a lot, Laura. So finally, Cesar, thank you a lot for accepting the invitation.
Thank you, Alonso. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Cesar. I'm from Peru, and I am the head of the Artificial Intelligence Research Group of Pontifical Catholic University from Peru. I did my PhD studies and my master studies in Sao Paulo University. It's grateful to see Nina Hirata. Nina was my jury of my PhD thesis. Okay, hi Nina. And since my graduation, I was working in image processing, and all the people that we work in image processing, we moved to work now in deep learning. Okay, and my currently work is oriented to satellite image processing, applying to different problems in the country. For example, because Peru, we have a high resolution satellite. I think that one of the best image that we have in the continent, and we use many of these images to, for example, to detect some kind of problems in the cities. Okay, and we try to use this using automatically applying deep learning and other image processing techniques. And in my group, we have another applications because we have many different researchers. We have project oriented, for example, to biomedical problems, to archaeological problems, oriented to biodiversity problems too in Peru. Okay, and we was granted with different funds. And since 2014, the group is emerging as one of the most important groups in artificial intelligence in my country. And I think that we are developing different applications too, oriented to other areas. For example, we are working now with the lawyers and with the geographical professionals too. Okay. I think that thank you for the invitation, and it's interesting to share many ideas with you.
Thank you a lot, Cesar, and thank you all for being here. So let's start with the questions. I think we will I mean, I encourage you to participate, all of you. The idea is I will try to use, I was expecting 10 minutes per question, but maybe I will leave 8 minutes so we can have some participation from the audience at the end. So the first question is for each of you, and you are open to participate whenever you want. Question one is, which is the status of AI research in your country? Can you speak more specifically about advances or applications of computer vision in your region? Which resources are in place for carrying out research, like, for example, computing, education, and so on? And in your opinion, what can be improved in each of your countries? Let's start with Marley, maybe.
Well, here in Brazil, in terms of resources, we have recently, actually, it was launched in April this year. The federal government decided to launch a kind of a public notice in order to create up to 3 centers. I think Nina can actually also mention that, because it involves FAPESP, which is a foundation, a kind of an agency, but it's from the government of the state of São Paulo. And so this has been approved at, I think, 3 or 4 centers around the country. It was sponsored by the federal government and the FAPESP, which is the foundation I mentioned from the state of São Paulo. And it involves not only universities and not only universities, but research centers and some companies as well. Not only from São Paulo, but from around the world, around the country as well. But at the moment, although we have this, and in Rio de Janeiro also, the state government has decided to also launch and created 3 centers. We have one that is headed by my university, the Catholic University of Rio de Janeiro. But the federal support in terms of research this year has been reduced a lot. And in my opinion, one thing that can be improved, at least for what I know in terms of the state of Rio de Janeiro, is the infrastructure for in terms of computing power for computer vision applications. It's something that the Catholic University is a private university. We have, in terms of the electrical engineering program, one of the highest in Brazil, because Brazil ranks all the postgraduate programs. But even if we have a very good postgraduate program, we still have lack of resources in terms of computing power. And we need financial support from the government. So this must be improved, because it's something that, based on these research centers that are being created, is something that we are trying to solve by getting support from the government, but it's still a very, there still need a lot of financial support in order to create a computer power necessary to develop our computer vision applications that need a lot of computer power.
Thank you a lot, Marley. So can you tell us about the status of that regard, Pablo, in Uruguay?
Yes. So I think you all know that Uruguay is a very tiny country. We are only 3.5 million, but we have I mean, this has good things and bad things, obviously. The good thing is that we have very good infrastructure, and regarding both communication, the country is, I think, maybe more than 90% connected by optical fiber, and we have, and it's very easy to centralize things. For example, we have a cluster, a supercomputer center, which is managed at the government level, and like everybody can access to this cluster, and it's pretty cheap. So these are the good things. The bad thing, obviously, is I think we need more people. the exports, for example, in software in Uruguay per capita are really high. I think I think it's the highest one in Latin America and one of the top in the world, but it's still very small because we are a very small country. So, it's very difficult to motivate people to come here. And also another problem is that investment in research is pretty low. I would say it's about half point. It's probably one of the lowest in South America, and that's a terrible problem. And one consequence of that is that now we are losing a lot of people, good people. In which the country has invested a lot in their education, and they are leaving. They are leaving for large companies in the US. Public education is still at a good level, but we don't know what's going to happen with the investment that is being carried out by the government. One way we have to keep on working is to foster and have very strong collaborations with the countries in the north. Typically in this area, we work a lot with people in the US and in Europe, mainly in France. So these are the kind of workaround we find to keep producing science at a reasonable level. And so I don't want to be here like to cry like everybody about funding, and I think we all have the same problem here. So I think in order to be constructive, I would say that one of the major problems we have, and I think we all share this problem, is the fact that we don't have enough collaborations within the region that would be much cheap to collaborate between us. We have, for example, Argentina, Brazil, really close. I see Enzo here, who's going to come to give a course next year. He was going to come last year, but he couldn't come because of the pandemics. So try to make these small steps and try to produce together, because otherwise, I mean, everything what we produce is going to the north. So I think that's one of the things we should focus on. And there are many programs that can help in doing so. It's much easier to collaborate with people in the US or particularly in France, because the French are very good in promoting collaboration with other countries, and there are many collaboration programs and financing, but we don't have that in the region. So that's one of the topics I wanted to raise.
Oh, very, very good point. Yeah. Let's continue with Maria Jose, maybe.
Yeah, thank you, Gilberto. And yeah, here in Chile, we are pushing forward the development of artificial intelligence. There are many good developments in medical imaging and astronomical research. We account for a big percentage of the world's astronomical capacity, that it's going to generate a big quantity of data for the next years. And regarding national centers, we are happy to announce that we just created a national center for artificial intelligence research. And this national center aims to collect and to put in together many of the research related with AI along the country, and with a focus not only on research, but also in tech transfer, dissemination, and outreach. And the other thing that it's important for pushing the AI on the top of the list is that we are about to launch a AI national plan, which generates a lot of investment from the public and private sector in order to push the AI. For this national plan, we worked during the entire last year, and we created roundtables with around 1,700 people participated in this roundtable. So we're very happy of the final document that we have generated, that it comes also with a roadmap that contains more than 170 initiatives to put the AI on the front of our development of the country. And just to give you a brief idea of the AI National Plan, it has 3 axes. The main one talks about enabling factors, the things that should happen to develop AI. And then we have a lot of programs related with talent development. We have technological infrastructure that I fully agree with Marley. It's one of the key important issues that it's missing in almost in all the countries in South America. And access to quality of data. The second axis relates to development and use of AI. How do I go to the private sector? How I motivate the industry to adopt AI into their business? And that's important to attract talent and avoid the people leaving the country to go to another big companies in the North Hemisphere. And the final axis relates to ethical, legal, regulatory aspects of socioeconomic impact. So what can we have to do as government in order to pave the street and allowing the development of artificial intelligence? So this national plan is going to be launched at the end of this month. So I really, as soon as it's launched, we can talk more about all the initiatives that contains the roadmap. And the last thing is something that happened recently that's also important, that we launched the Chilean Association of Women in Artificial Intelligence. So this is a very nice initiative. We're very motivated about this because we have people not only from the academia, we have people from the public sector of the society in general who's trying to know each other, doing the connections, and what can we do or to motivate more women and be enrolled in tech careers.
Thank you a lot, Maria Jose. I think we will move to the next question, and then I will let participate some of the people that couldn't make it for the first round. So let's go for the question 2. Can you explain how students can get access to advanced studies in artificial intelligence in your country? Which are the main labs? Do you have an infrastructure in terms of postgraduate programs and scholarships in your own country? For example, public initiatives or private sector? How many people benefit from them, and how easy is to get access to them? I will start with Raul.
Thank you, Gilberto. So yeah, okay. So I guess I would start first by saying that artificial intelligence has been in the center of Mexican science for a little while. Evidence of this is that the Mexican Society for Artificial Intelligence is 35 years old. And it is actually the eldest scientific society related with computing. We do have over 20 PhD programs in computing or related areas certified by our National Research Council, Census. And in that sense, we do have several universities which have a, say, institutional lab, for example, in computer vision. Not only at the National University, which is the largest university in our country, but we do also have computer vision labs, in particular in state universities, and not all of them as well as well known as the national universities, such as Universidad Autónoma del Estado de México or Universidad Autónoma del Estado de Morelos. And of course, we have research centers in which computer vision labs are well developed, such as the INAOE, the Instituto Nacional de Óptica y Electrónica, which is not only the largest research center in computing, I guess, but the one that develops, together with some other institutes such as CIMAD or Tecnológico de Monterrey and other universities, of course, computer vision research. Let me see what else am I missing about your question, because it is actually
kind of the opportunities for the students, like how easy is to get a scholarship. I know that, I mean, in my case, I know because I'm from Mexico, but for other people,
Yes, Usually, when one wants to do a PhD, for example, in computing, either you go to a private college, or you go to a state or national university or a research center. And in that case, tuition fees for the latter case usually are very cheap. So you only need to have a maintenance scholarship for doing your research, right? And this is provided by the National Research Council in Mexico for science and technology. And of course, if you go to a college, then you would need to get a scholarship for tuition. In that case, many universities, such as Tecnológico de Monterrey, do provide scholarships for excellence, which means that every student that is admitted to a graduate program is granted with a scholarship for tuition. And basically, that will be it. I don't know. It is very important to say that I don't know how things are going on in the other countries, especially in South America and Latin America in general. But here in Mexico, for example, 2 years ago, we only have about 110 students getting admitted in a PhD program. So we do not have too many applications. And of course, the reason is that well-trained people in artificial intelligence engineering or computer engineering very quickly get a job, especially in the United States.
This is a very important aspect, yeah.
Yeah.
So
we don't have many
people going,
like
for example, here in Mexico, even during the bachelor, they're already working for Facebook or Intel or something like that. It's very complicated. I don't know in other countries in South America, but here in Mexico, due to our closeness to the US, even people in master or PhD already get jobs from Facebook and so on. So yeah, it's complicated. Thank you a lot, Raul. So let's, Laura, what can you tell us about Colombia?
Okay, so here in Colombia, the main labs are located at the main universities here. The biggest one is actually Sinfonía at Universidad de los Andes. We have great collaborations here with different universities, different industries. But there are also big universities like Los Andes is a private university, but the big public universities here, like Universidad Nacional, they have their own very good computer science and computer vision labs. There is also one lab that was recently opened by the government in collaboration with the National Training Service and Huawei. And this is like the first lab in Colombia that is for artificial intelligence that is not inside one of the big universities. Actually, this is really interesting because the National Training Service, it's completely free. So anyone can have access to that. And because it's with Huawei, there was a big investment in this lab, both from that company and from the government. However, in terms of scholarships for the university labs, that's always something internal with the university. Some of them offer scholarships for excellence. Like here in Sinfonía, we actually have a collaboration with DeepMind. So every year we have 3 students that are fully funded by DeepMind. And the government wants to invest a lot in this area. So what they are doing now, they're starting to fund a lot of people to take not enter masters or specializations, but take online courses, both from Coursera or Coursera platforms like that, or courses with professors from top universities all over the world. And they offer lots of scholarships here. Actually, Last year, they granted, I think, 13,000 forgivable loans to take courses like that. There are also, well, the National Institution for Educational Loans offers a lot of opportunities to take that kind of education in order to prepare people for the future of AI. They actually are investing a lot in preparing the Colombian population for these new technologies.
Okay, thank you, Laura. And so, what can you tell us about Argentina?
Yeah, well, in terms of education, you know, Argentina has a huge education system for universities, especially the public universities, which are really good and free for everybody. So this is a really good point, I think, about our country, and you can get scholarships from CONICET. Most of them are centralized in CONICET, which is the Argentinian National Research Council. And they are also open for Latin Americans. So it's not only for Argentinians, but it's for everybody in Latin America who would like to apply. So I see there are students in the audience, and I encourage them, if they are interested in pursuing a PhD in computer sciences, in contacting Argentinian professors and trying to apply with them to these scholarships. So I think in that sense, it's really interesting. Of course, we are having a lot of students, same I think that Raul, or I don't remember who was saying before, that are directly going to industry, and this is leaving us without many students in our labs. This is a big problem that we are facing, not only in Argentina, but at an international level, clearly. And so it's something we should somehow tackle as a community and think about solutions, I think. But in general, we have many research labs around the country, not only in Buenos Aires, which is the capital city, where there are a few, like many research labs for artificial intelligence, but also in other cities like Santa Fe, Rosario, Tandil, Bahia Blanca. These are different cities in the country where there are big research labs which have been doing AI for many years. Actually, I joined one of them in 2017 when I came back here. I didn't know what I was going to find because I did my PhD abroad. And actually, the panorama I found when I came here was really encouraging. A lot of people really interested on that. But, well, right now we are facing this problem of a lack of students, I could say, and even not only students, but also researchers and professors at the university. So this is something we have to think about. Companies are part of the problem, so they should be part of the solution somehow. I think what DeepMind is doing in Colombia is something like a really interesting experience that should be replicated along different countries. Providing opportunities for internships is always great for our students, for them to go to the US or Europe, but also we should be creating opportunities in our own countries, which I think is what's lacking. And I think it's what you, Gilberto, were saying at the beginning, that you are trying to think about. How can we do to construct community here? And in that sense, I think that what Kipo did in 2019 was amazing. Kipo was like, for me, this very first, and Pablo was involved in the organization there, and all the people from Uruguay in particular. I would have loved to have an event like that when I was an undergrad in Argentina and travel to Uruguay and meet all the people I met there. So I think we have to keep on promoting these kind of things to encourage our students to basically be interested in AI, but also be interested in doing stuff in Latin America.
Yeah, thank you a lot. And so I think that a big part of LatinX in AI is also giving opportunities to students to attend big conferences and the social hour, discussing that, like for example, you go to a conference and then you go alone, you don't know anybody. If you already go to some conference and you met Enzo, you know that you can talk with him, for example, right?
Yeah, totally. But I think, I mean, Latin in AI has been doing that for many years, and this is amazing. My students have actually taken advantage of that, gone to Canada and whatever. But I think also what Kipo was doing, organizing the event in Latin America, was really interesting. And this was something different. And this is something we need more.
For sure. Thank you for your comments. So Cesar, let's have a little bit of Peru in that regard?
In Peru, I think that the artificial intelligence is starting to or introducing recently especially in companies from finance and other companies, for example, in mining too. Okay, I think that mining is the main area of the country. But in terms of, for example, human resource, I think like the other countries, Peru is in Peru we don't have many specialists in artificial intelligence. Okay, I think that it's a problem. And the other problem that we have is the infrastructure because we don't have labs in the country. I think that my laboratory is the one lab that we use for artificial intelligence or image processing, and other labs I think that we don't have in the country. Another lab probably could be in the south of the country in Arequipa, San Agustin University, where we have a program on computer science from graduation to postgraduate. Okay, and we don't have many PhD programs in computer science or artificial intelligence. I think that we have only two programs. The program in my university that is a PhD in engineering. It's a general PhD program, but we was granted with 10 scholarships oriented to artificial intelligence. Okay, but in the call for scholarships, we only accepted two students because the quality of the participants was wasn't very well. Okay, and we will have next call the next year, and we hope to have more students. Okay, I think that we are starting. Okay, probably the government have to take conscience about the importance of the area of the artificial intelligence. For example, last year we participate in the construction of the artificial intelligence policy of the country, but it was only a first step. Okay, because we have an evaluation about the probabilities to use artificial intelligence. All we need to use artificial intelligence, but we detected three fundamental problems. Okay, one is the human resources. Okay, specialists in artificial intelligence, the infrastructure, and the data, the organization of the data. Okay, that I think that problem we have to organize or try to solve. Okay, to introduce very well the artificial intelligence in different applications. But the problem is that if we are not prepared for this kind of technology, I think that many the technology will come from foreign, and the Peruvian problem could be or can be solved with the own resources of the country. Okay, I think that many problems that we have must to be solved by the own population and own specialists. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Cesar. And actually comes handy at this topic that you were talking about. I will skip just question 4 actually because this is important and it's related with that thing you were saying is which areas of opportunity do you envision for giving opportunities to develop the AI capacities in your country? For example, to bring more people in AI, data science fields, both for academic and industrial roles, of course. And what can we do as well to promote the access of individuals that are already doing research or postgraduate studies to access infrastructures like conferences and so on. Also very important to promote the creation of startups around artificial intelligence. Are you aware of this kind of efforts in your countries? We'll start with Marley.
Yeah, well, in here in Brazil, we have some programs in terms of trying to put together startups and big industries and universities. Those research centers that I mentioned that have been promoted and have been approved are trying to do that. But in terms of promoting access to the students, to conference, this depends on the postgraduate program. So it's something that, as I said, all the postgraduate programs in Brazil are ranked by one of the big agencies related to the Ministry of Education, which is called CAPES. And the amount of support you receive depends on the ranking of that postgraduate program. And the universities, the federal universities, which have higher ranking, and also we call it, it's not private because Cookie, it's called communitary, it's not a private university. But so we get this financial support from the government, and then we can help students and promote them to participate in conferences. But it's not something that it's available for all students from all the universities. It's not something that we have here. So basically it depends on the postgraduate program and the amount of support we receive from the government, basically that. And just related to what has been discussed in terms of scholarships, again, is also related to the ranking. But Brazil has a huge program of scholarships. We have a target, let's say, to have about 25,000 PhDs per year. It's a target, but we haven't reached that yet. And 60,000 MSc students also per year. And this has been achieved with scholarships all over the country. But PhD, the target is 25,000, but we haven't reached that yet. And yeah, okay.
Thank you, Marley. Can we continue maybe with you, Maria Jose?
Yeah, sure. I will mix a little bit the answers for the other questions. Yes, the first thing, I think the big opportunities for Chile is that Chile concentrates an important part of the world's astronomical capacity. In fact, for the 2025, we expect to account for near the 70% of the world's astronomical capacity of the entire world. Just to put the numbers, there is one telescope that's being built. It's called Vera Rubin, which is spanning the whole sky every 3 days. Okay, so it's going to generate 1.28 petabytes per year. So there is a big, huge challenge in terms of data science and in terms of understanding which kind of astronomical science, astronomical issues are happening there. And there it opens a big quantity of opportunities to develop the IA from the research side. And from the students, access to students to different things. There are new undergraduate programs are being created as part of the AI National Plan, and also graduate programs doing with there's a joint programs with different universities. And from the National Research Council, we also are providing a lot of scholarships for PhD programs, not only for Chilean students, but also for students coming from another country. So this is a good thing about creating a community, because maybe from Peru, there are very good students that could come to study either to Argentina or Chile. There are also support to attend conference abroad or Chile conference. So there is a big, and there's a nice machine in order to create and disseminate the AI. Okay, the National Center is also a key role in this development. And regarding the startups, as Ministry of Science, we have a big focus in creating a startup based in science and technology. So we have a special programs for that. We are providing support for the first 2 years of this startup in order to create the company and being able to believe in after 2 or 3 years. And it's also important in the sense that Enzo mentioned that events like Kipu are critical, yes, are critical, but it's also important in those events to show up which are the nice companies that are being created here in Latin America. That not all the students wanted to go to the DeepMind, they also could stay here with a very nice environment related to AI. So this is about thing. We have supports in Chile for scholarships for undergraduate, graduate programs. We are pushing a lot the startup space in science and technology. So there is a within all this startup, there is a main category focused on AI development. So we really hope in the next years to have a very rich environment related to AI, and that it's going to be attracting talent from the entire Latin America. So we have to push forward the community within the region, and I think we all have different complements and different talents to do that.
Thank you a lot, Maria Jose. Pablo, can you elaborate? I think you were having some very strong points in this regard. You're mute.
Yeah, sorry, what did you say? I didn't get the last thing.
Yeah, if you can elaborate, because you were discussing some of these points before. Do you want to say anything? Yeah.
Yeah. I think I think Maria Jose raised a very good point with respect to the industry in our countries, because it's true that we can. I think we cannot pretend. We'd love it to be like that, where we cannot pretend to have all the people which are doing their PhDs and they are really studying hard to work in the university. At least here in Uruguay, is impossible. We don't have money and we don't have place to retain all this capital. And I think what we have in South America, which is amazing, is the capacity of the people. We have really, really good people, really smart people. And it's a pity because they live, and why they live, because they don't have good opportunities here. I don't think anybody would want to live if they had good opportunities at their places. So I think one is an important aspect, what is being done in the industry, because as I said, there are very smart people which are doing interesting things. And I don't want to say in a self-educated way. I mean, these are people that usually go through the university system, etc. But it's not very usual to see people with PhDs, a lot of people with PhDs in companies. And I think that's something probably the country's science politics is failing there, because if you look what they do in countries where they have the money to do it, which, for example, I talk a lot about France because it's the system I know the most. They have this kind of financial support for companies to get people with PhDs and to do training, PhD training in company. And we don't have these kind of things. And I think the possibility to keep our people in our countries is certainly going in this joint venture with the companies. So I think this is a very important thing. Then another thing, I think it would be useful, and we do it in a certain way, and that's what we did in Kipu, and I think it was excellent, is the relationship with the diaspora, with our people which are working in these leading top companies in the world, which they are always willing to help. These people, our people are usually very attached to our places, and they always want to help. And we have professors in other universities; they are always willing to host students from our places. So what happened in Kipu is an example of that. We managed to do Kipu because we had colleagues and friends which were working in Google, in DeepMind, and other big companies. And then that's how it started. So this is, I'm just very structured. I'm not very structured in what I'm saying, but what I would say is that probably this, we have to think a lot about clever ways to collaborate with the industry.
Yeah, this is something that is happening in Mexico with, lately we are famous because we have 3 very strong movie directors. that became famous were famous, and now they are doing that. They are helping. For example, Guillermo del Toro is creating a film in Guadalajara. So we need something like that in science, I would say. Yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I think we could do it. And that's if you think about if you think about the research labs they have in DeepMind, they have in Google Brain, etc. I mean, these are amazing labs. They have now they have the money to, not only the money, but people go there because they can do very interesting research, and they have teams which are amazing. And so maybe we have to think that educations that don't, I'm not saying to give degrees in companies. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that we have to enforce this collaboration with the industry, because especially in this field, I mean, it's a very applied field, and then you can go to the theory also, but it's driven by applications, and it's a natural thing that to try to improve the development of the countries with the companies, and you have to be very careful about that because companies have their interests too. But I mean, it's always a matter of finding the good balance and the win-win situations.
Yes, thank you. Actually, I also did my master and my PhD in France, so I know the French system very well. But I can tell you, in Mexico, something that I never liked. I used to work. I did a specialization in Simvestab, which is one of the top research centers in Mexico, and I worked for some time at INAOE, which is also one of the top research centers. And like the applied stuff was anathema. Applied stuff was like, if you want to apply your research, then don't do research, because we do basic stuff. So it's kind of a problem, right? So we're almost out of time. So I want to give Nina the final words to close the panel. Thank you a lot.
Okay, thank you. So I will just complement maybe what Marley wrote. So most of the research in our country is done at the university, basically federal universities, which are public. So, and I see there are a lot of interesting initiatives occurring right now with collaboration with the industry. But those collaborations are somehow enforced by the research funding agencies. Maybe I will present something that is happening in state of São Paulo. Besides the federal government research funding agency, in São Paulo we have the state of São Paulo Research Foundation, which is very strong, and actually talking about scholarships, it is possible to apply individually to get scholarships from CAPESP. You just need a supervisor, a good research project, and of course you must be accepted to some graduate program, of course. Then you can have the scholarship from this agency. And this agency is doing a lot of efforts to integrate university with industry. So there is a special program sponsored by them to give money to small companies or startups to start research. And most of the time, the money they give is to do research, to develop some products. And also those large research centers that Marley was talking about, Center for Artificial Intelligence or Data Science, they are built in such a way that there is usually a big company, some universities involved, and also they try to involve also small startups. So actually, this is creating a kind of ecosystem that integrates universities, big companies, and small companies or small startups. And well, and also I would like to add that in Brazil we have a huge opportunities to actually problems to work on. For instance, agriculture is a huge field in our country, and there are many initiatives that are employing computer vision, artificial intelligence to process data, whatever. Also, environment is another field, like Amazon forest, to detect fire spots or deforestation, monitoring of natural research, and so on. Also, I think biodiversity is a huge field also to identify new plants or animals or whatever. And well, I could list a lot of applications, e-commerce or service in general, bank, finance. So I have seen in the last, like, say, 5 years, a huge interest from the industry in machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science. And our problem is the lack of human resources, I think.
Yeah,
So
I think there was a common trend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our students actually, not all, but most of our students are already working. So they are part-time students in some way. And so
Yeah.
this is the situation.
Thank you, Nina. Well, thank you a lot to all panelists. I think 1 hour was never enough to discuss this kind of thing, but I think it was a beginning. So I think we're gonna have a workshop in CVPR in hopefully next year. We are submitting the proposal, so I hope we can repeat something like a continuation of this and keep talking and keep generating ideas and conversations and collaborations and so on. Thank you a lot for participating and have
Thanks
a nice
a lot for the invitation, Gilberto.
You can stay. We will move to Gattertown.
Yeah.
I have a couple of announcements to make. We have originally we have the mentoring hour and the doctoral consortium at the same time, but since we only have 3 persons for doctoral consortium, I suggest to have 1 hour for the mentoring hour, so you can attend to the mentoring hour, and then from 1:30 to 2:30 we can attend the doctoral consortium. I will share my screen very quickly. These are our mentors. 1 second. We have a very nice roster. We have Bing Huang from Facebook Labs, Caterina Armato from Google, Cristina Vasconcelos from Google Brain, Juan Carlos Niebles, very well known in computer vision from Stanford, now at Salesforce. We have Vicente Ordóñez from, I think he's at Rice University right now, Miguel Bautista from Apple, Darwin Villagomez from Amazon, Víctor Hugo Aima from University of Lima, Lenin Quiroz from University of Lima as well, Jorge Luis Guevara from IBM Research, Bernardino Romera from DeepMind, Ricardo Martin Broya from Google, and Andy Brock from DeepMind as well. So take advantage, go there and discuss with them. Maybe you can get some good advice. And we will see you in 1:30 in the doctoral consortium room in Gattertown. So thank
you very much. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.